is.
Thank you for that.
I'm holding off just a second until we determine whether we're gonna be able to record it or not. When we. That won't answer the calls that are gonna be coming in shortly.
Thank you.
Tell them it's a conspiracy.
Yep. News blackout.
Yes, news.
All right. Very good.
I don't know if that's a good thing. Apparently it is. All right, let's do this. We'll call the meeting to order. We are having some technical difficulties. This is the council meeting for April 2nd, 2018. We're recording it. It's not going to be played live, but we'll get it out to those folks that want to see it very shortly here. I'm going to ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, which will be immediately followed by a moment of silence for the family of Raymond Fetchett, a longtime I know he was principal when I went to school, so it's it's been just a little while. Our invocation was going to be done by Reverend Gary Shipling of Blessing Hope Church. Reverend Shipling had triple bypass surgery last week. He is home, but as we also remember the family of Raymond Fetchett, we asked for prayers for a quick recovery for Reverend Shipling. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We could have roll call, please.
Councilperson Starzinski.
Here.
Higgins.
Here.
Kelsey.
Here.
Murphy.
Here.
Mayor Kearns.
Here. All right, they switched the lighting in the council chambers here, so everything
Right.
is very bright daylight here today. So in the process of putting new lights in, though, what I understand is for those people that will be seeing this later on, that the feed for the radio station is back on again. They're trying to weed that out, so if you hear a little music in the background, that's just go with it, and we're attempting to take care of that. In the news this past week, you may have heard stories about our fire department. The only thing I wish to say in reference to that is I stand by our firefighters and those that assisted them from other communities. They risk their lives on a daily basis for us. They're upstanding, and I am for everything that they do. So they may get bashed around in the news, but that is not. I do not feel that is warranted. And investigation will later reveal that is the case. But as it stands right now, I'm total support of our fire department, and I'm sure that the rest of the council is. Speaking of Reverend Shipling, I was at Family Fun Night, an event that Rotary put on about a week and a half ago, and he was the focal point, the MC of the event, and that in which they bring all the kids together to see what programs and things are available in town. CSX Railroad was there. One of our K-9 officers and dog were there, the community policing. And so overall, it's a great event that Rotary puts on. Appreciate that. And it was a musical weekend. This past, so that was a week before, wasn't it? Anyway, with the all-day jam on Saturday that Councilman Darzinski, Councilman Higgins had a lot to do with. That was a great event. And then we had on Friday night, that night was the fundraiser put on where Ozzy Osbourne tribute band was there. So a lot of good things happening. And that basically is all that I have at this point. So we'll go to the consent agenda. Resolved that the following items listed in the consent agenda be approved as presented to the mayor and city council. 1, approve minutes, regular meeting held March 19, 2018. 2, participation / residential rehab. 3, attend training, FDIC Fire Department. 4, attend training, EMS Fire Department. 5, special event, Memorial Day Parade. 6, special event, LP Schools 5K Run, that's a Lincoln Park Schools Foundation 5K Run. 7, special event, DDA Cinco de Mayo.
Also move, Your Honor.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Murphy,
Yes.
Darzinski,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Mayor Carnes.
Yes.
Okay.
As part of my, I should follow my agenda more closely. I didn't have Mr. Copper here to remind me. We have a presentation today, Michigan Economic Development Corporation for the RRC Baseline Report. And gentlemen, I don't know if, do you have, they need any IT help there, or is it?
Do you need any IT
No, I printed out the slides, so you have a handout.
There you go.
Oh, okay, because we have,
Passion presentation.
absent everything shutting down on us here, we had the capability of putting this on the screen so everybody could watch it.
And I can get that to you if you would like.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, and then when we put this, when it runs at, in the background, then we'll have that.
perfect.
And I apologize for skipping over you, but we're sort of catching up at this particular point, so go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. My name is Brett Hanlon. I am a redevelopment ready communities planner for the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. I'm joined here tonight by Dominic Romano, who is, he's the Region 10 Community Assistance Team Specialist. And because Lincoln Park's in Region 10, he's your primary point of contact for a variety of incentives that the MEDC has to offer. So he's a good guy to know. So tonight, I'm going to give you some background on the RRC program. I'm going to briefly go over the findings of an evaluation we performed on your development-related practices. And then I'm going to outline some things that you can do here as a city to bring yourself into alignment with the RRC best practices. So on the second slide, on the bottom of page 1, there's three divisions of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. You have your marketing and promotion, which is the Pure Michigan campaign. You have business development that focuses on the traditional business attraction, retention, expansion, and then community development, which is what the RRC is part of. And we focus on creating vibrant communities that have a high quality of life, because we know it's those communities that can attract the talented workforce and the businesses, and really address both of the philosophies, attracting business, but then also creating a place where people want to live. So to do that, on the top of page 2, we offer communities technical assistance. So we help communities identify ways your plans could be improved, your processes can be streamlined, your policies can be updated so that you're in the best possible position to attract that business and talent. If you take a look at the top of page 2, that this image is what we call the business talent place connection. On the top, you'll see talent wants place. If you go clockwise, place needs business, business needs talent. And so it's commonly understood that communities work hard to attract the businesses, and then the workers then will gravitate towards those businesses. But it's not necessarily the case anymore. Nowadays, more so than ever, people are choosing where they want to live first. There's more options in terms of working from home, starting businesses, or simply moving somewhere first and then looking for jobs second. And so, again, by creating these places where people want to be, we're really addressing both of those philosophies. On the bottom of page 2, these are the RRC's guiding principles. So it's a self-help program. We're not going to be able to complete these steps for you, but we will be able to provide you with a lot of different resources to help Lincoln Park be successful. We're big on partnerships, so not only are we here, the MEDC and the RRC wants to partner with Lincoln Park, and we are partnering with you, but also communities who can engage all your local and regional stakeholders, create a unified community vision, are not only going to be in a better, not only going to have stronger plans, but those plans are going to be much easier to implement when the time comes. On the top of page 3, all of our best practices are divided into these 6 sections. Number 1 talks about community plans and public outreach. That's your long-range planning. So we look at a master plan, a downtown plan, capital improvements plan, and public participation strategy. Zoning regulations is your zoning ordinance. Development review process, we want to make sure that you've deliberately set that how you want, and you've removed any unnecessary obstacles from the process. Recruitment and orientation deals with basically ensuring that there's ongoing training for staff and appointed and elected officials. Redevelopment ready sites, I'll talk more about that in a moment, but we ask the communities identify or really prioritize at least 3 sites that you want to see redeveloped here in the city. And community prosperity is dealing with marketing and economic development strategies. On the bottom of page 3, you'll see the RRC program's currently working with over 200 communities. These are communities of all different sizes all across the state. 17 of these communities have gotten their baseline report and taken strides to meet the RRC best practices, and then have become certified as a redevelopment-ready community. On the top of page 4, really, you're engaged in the program. We're now nearing the bottom of the second step. So you'll see that I'm here tonight to present the findings of the baseline report. From there, we'll ask that you pass another resolution just to make sure that you're all on board and there's not any huge disagreements with any of this. We want to make sure that you guys are all pulling together to work towards certification. There's no timing requirements. You can work at your own pace based on staff time and resources. I've been working with Giles, and from this point on, usually we'll check in at least quarterly, every 3 months. It's a table that breaks down the outstanding items. So the bottom of page 4, you'll see Lincoln Park is currently meeting 49% of the best practice criteria and is in the process of meeting all the remaining criteria. And this is a fantastic scorecard. You should be commended. It's rare to see a scorecard with no red on it, and it's a testament to effective staff and the support they're receiving from the Planning Commission and City Council. So it's very good, and you guys have a lot of great things to build on that I'm going to talk about here in a moment. So on page 5, I want to highlight some things that are going well. The long-range planning. The comprehensive development plan is excellent. It's got a lot of detail. It provides a great existing conditions report. It provides very detailed implementation strategies. And so you'll notice on the scorecard it's not green because it's 11 years old now. And so for that particular criteria, we're asking that you just review the plan, reaffirm your commitment to it. If there's strategies that are not applicable anymore, obviously those should be taken out. So you don't have to reinvent the plan. There's a lot of good stuff there. We're just asking that you reaffirm your commitment to it or update it. The Lincoln Park Alive strategic plan is fantastic. It's We have an RRC online library of resources that I'm going to talk about at the end of the presentation, but I've included that on there because it's really it's an example of, it's a great developed downtown plan is what it is. Moving down to the bottom of page 5, what I really like about the plan is it's got detailed implementation actions. So it's got the timelines. I think it breaks it down, says now, 1 to 3 years, and then maybe it's 3 to 5 years or 3 to 10. It's got responsible parties and the different stakeholders who can be engaged to help you implement that action. It's got estimated costs, which then are tied back to the capital improvements plan, which is excellent. So you guys are meeting that best practice right now. On page 6, your zoning ordinance is real good. It has so it's got the the permitted uses, the special uses, which is more of a traditional way of doing planning and zoning. But you guys also do a great job of tying in your form-based standards. For instance, an example of that, first floor transparency, and that's what I tried to show here in this image is you guys have transparency standards to promote walkability. That's great. Building orientation, you make sure downtown the buildings are built right up to the street, so it's more accessible for somebody walking. That's what we're looking for. Flexible strategic parking regulations. You cap your parking at 20% more than the minimum, which that's great. That's a best practice. You allow reductions in parking, the minimum parking, where you have complementary uses. When one business has their peak demand during the day, the other one at night, you offer reductions for that. So I wanted to point that out as something that's going well. Streetscape provisions and street trees, and then also green infrastructure. I liked you guys have a great tree preservation ordinance, and I liked how you don't necessarily require all native landscaping, but you do have a provision that allows the superintendent of public works the final authority on species that are planted, and so you do have a way to require native vegetation if you wanted. On page 7, I want to highlight some things that you could improve upon. So the priority redevelopment sites, this is best practice 5. We ask that you identify 3 priority redevelopment sites. Depending on how much visioning needs to be done, if it's a downtown building that's that you want to have mixed use, maybe there'll be less visioning than a potential site outside of downtown that you don't know what it's going to be yet, and you want to engage your residents to see what everybody thinks. So there'll be a different amount of visioning for each of the sites, but that's what we want is 3 sites that you've come to some sort of consensus on what you want to see there, and we will then take these sites and market them to a national audience and try to generate some excitement here in Lincoln Park. Another thing that can be improved, and this is so economic development and marketing strategies, you have a great start in both your comprehensive development plan and the downtown strategic plan, but we're simply asking that in regard to the downtown plan, those strategies, a lot of those are related to downtown, and we want this to be a citywide economic development strategy. And so we're really, for some of those that will apply to all areas of the city, you can flesh those out. But yeah, we just want to make sure that this is an overarching plan. And again, with the goals, the implementation actions, responsible parties, so that they're more likely to be implemented. Similar with the marketing strategy, you guys have a lot of things going on with you have Facebook. The DDA has a Facebook page also. And really, we just want to make sure that you're telling your story in a consistent way. Nobody tells your story better than you guys. And so we just want to make sure that it's being told consistently throughout the region. Moving forward, as I mentioned, I'll work with Giles and try to get a resolution signed typically within 30 days is what we ask. From there, work at your own pace to complete the missing items, and then you'll become certified as a redevelopment-ready community. So now, at the bottom of page 8, I want to talk about some of the value in the program. I'd like to start with pointing out the inherent value in having a third party go through your planning documents and basically objectively listing what can be done to improve upon your plans, policies, and processes. We have an online library of resource, as I mentioned, that is basically examples from all over the state of Michigan on who's doing things really well. You might be able to learn something or get some ideas there. So for 3 months from tonight, you'll become eligible for up to $20,000 in matching funds for any project that'll get you closer to certification. And so that, any of the items that are not green, MEDC, or really the RRC program in this instance, will match dollar for dollar up to $20,000 for a project gets you closer to implementation. So that could be, well, your master plan's in good shape. You got a lot of good things going. Off the top of my head, the sites could be a good example of that. I know your capital improvements plan's in good shape too. You just had 5 years instead of 6, I think. So that could be, we'll have to discuss it more, but that money is on the table 3 months from tonight. Something that we have, we're just rolling out. We're working with this company called OpSites, and so we have a contract with them now. We're starting to market projects to a national audience. This is new though. We used to use a company called Zoom Prospector, so we're really excited about that. So we're going to market those sites for you. Upon certification, there's a whole new level of incentives. Right now, we're offering $25,000, no match required, for pre-development services, which are soft costs, but then there's also the stipulation that it needs to be municipally owned. And so the soft costs would be design, traffic study, marketing study, design engineering, anything that doesn't involve demolition or breaking ground. And we're always trying to figure out how else we can help our communities too. So we're interested in feedback, and it's always evolving what we're trying to do to help our communities out. On page 9, if you're interested in learning more about the program, take a look at our website at myplace.org. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have right now, or feel free to give me a call or email anytime.
Have you had any success in marketing the sites for the various communities that you represent? Do you have any examples of successes?
Roseville and East Point, they were some of the first communities to be engaged in the program. Roseville had a site they were marketing. It ended up it was an old Kmart site. They ended up demolishing the building and doing a new Kroger there. East Point markets all their sites, so it's easy for us to kind of take credit for it. But they've had a lot of examples. They had a Buffalo Wing restaurant. They've had Drive Time Auto Sales, car dealership. They've had a lot of different examples. Dearborn just recently had a site turnover into it's a Ford restaurant.
Familiar, that's a nice place.
Yeah. So there has been success, and we want to bring some of that success here to Lincoln Park.
And we're on task really to attain this.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, you have a lot of things in place that you can easily review, update, reaffirm your commitment to it, and you can get a lot of these green real fast.
Now, will you be working with just Giles, or will you be working with our Downtown Development Authority or the EDC at any point?
The more the merrier. We like to have at least one point of contact, and Giles has been great so far. Okay. But moving forward, definitely would like to get everybody on the same page in the same room.
Well, thank you. Gentlemen, do you have anything?
I just got a couple questions. You're not a government agency, right? You're an independent agency, correct?
Yeah, but
Okay.
the MEC's does have some government employees. It's a nonprofit. I guess a nonprofit.
Well, I was just curious because it sounds like you're giving guidance and all that for a lot of communities to do a lot of things based on criteria that's universal to a certain extent, based upon what you're looking for. And I just was curious about that because there's a lot of times that the state would give help to the communities based upon certain issues. That's why I asked the question. I wasn't quite sure where you stood in that state independent kind of deal.
Yeah, it is.
How that process worked. Because, and my last question, I guess, is basically what you're saying is if the cities go along with your best practices, I guess, for lack of a better word, then there's incentives to give the city to continue along the best practices as long as you follow the criteria that's spelled out in your practice book or your driving mission statement, I guess, if I'm correct in stating that. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and it really serves as a foundation for some of the incentives that Dominic is able to offer down the road. If the city's got your house in order, so to speak, it's going to make the MEDC's investments more likely to be successful down the road. So the RRC has incentives, financial, technical assistance to offer, and then Dominic, who's not part of the RRC, but he's part of the MEDC community development also as a community assistance team specialist, and he also has incentives to offer you.
All right, great.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen,
thank
and we
you.
look forward to working with you. So.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, we'll move to the action items. And the first item has a cover letter from Doreen Christian, Director of the Community Planning and Development, Parks and Recreation. In background, the mayor and council authorized bids to be solicited for the Kennedy Memorial Building, Room A, painting on March 5. Parks and Recreation Department unable to accept the lowest bid from Fresh Look Incorporated as they cannot meet the specifications quoted within their bid amount. So the other bidders win this were Do All Cleaning Incorporated at $9,500, Color Concepts Painting Incorporated, $10,900, MPM Painting LLC at $11,770, Perfection Plus Painting at $13,053, and Anderson Paint Store LLC at $18,000. So resolved that Do All Cleaning Incorporated be awarded the bid to paint the Kennedy Memorial Building, Room A, with amount not to exceed $9,500, and work to be completed between May 13th and May 23, 2018. Funds will come from Capital Fund number 401-001-983.
So move.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilperson Higgins?
Yay.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Darzinski?
Yes.
Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Kearns?
Yes. Next item has a cover letter from John Kazoo, our DPS Director. In background, Cumming Bridgeway is the city contractor for generator maintenance. They were called out to troubleshoot the Emmons Pump Station generator because it was not functioning properly. During the troubleshooting, it was discovered that the radiator on the generator was leaking, and this was causing the issues. It's imperative the generator be repaired because it's responsible for keeping the pump station operational during a power outage. Okay, so whereas Cummings Bridgeway found that the radiator on the generator at Emmons Pump Station is leaking and needs to be repaired and record. Be resolved that the mayor and city council authorize Cummins Bridgeway to repair and record the radiator on the generator at the Emmons Pump Station at a total cost of $29,168.75, with the funds to come from account 420-001-983000 Water and Sewer Capital Account.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Murphy?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Darzinski?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Mayor Kearns?
Yes. And this is an accompanying resolution also from John Kazoo, Director of the Department of Public Services. Generator at the Emmons Pump Station will be out for 5 to 7 days for the repair and recore of the radiator. During this time, there will be no backup generator for the pump station. This pump station is responsible for the sewage of approximately 5,000 homes. If a power outage were to occur during the time our current generator is being repaired, it could back up 5,000 homes. It is necessary to rent a backup generator for Emmons Pump Station while the repairs are being made to the current generator. So whereas the generator at the Emmons Pump Station will be out for 5 to 7 days for the repair and recore of the radiator, and a backup generator is needed. Be resolved that the mayor and city council authorize a rental generator from Cummings Bridgeway at a cost not to exceed $9,300 to come from account 420-001-983000 Water and Sewer Capital.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilperson Murphy?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Darzinski?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Mayor Kearns.
Yes. This next item we had discussed at the last meeting was GV Cement Contracting Company was a City of Lincoln Park concrete contractor for utility repairs and concrete sectioning program work for 2017. They have offered to extend their contract unit rates for 2017 contract to the year 2018 contract season. All right, this is whereas GV Cement Contracting Company, it was a City of Lincoln Park's concrete contractor for concrete sectioning and utility repairs for the 2017 season. And they have offered to extend their current contract and unit rates for the 2018 concrete season. Be resolved that the mayor and city council authorize the extension of GV Cement Contracting Company's contract for the 2018 concrete sectioning and utility repairs program.
So moved.
Support.
Do you have discussion?
This is what we discussed at the last meeting, and the paperwork has been assured.
What do you mean paperwork?
Well, at the last meeting, it was all verbal. and we
Yeah.
were- Okay,
Yeah, there is in the packet the letter from GD.
I'm just, for the people at home who don't see that.
Okay. No, just, clerk, go ahead.
Councilperson Kelsey?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Darzinski?
Yes.
Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Kearns.
Yes. All right. This item has a cover letter from city manager, Mr. Copler. The mayor and city council was approached by a business owner within the city wanting to improve his property by changing out a large billboard sign located there. However, the current city code relates to signs prohibiting him from making the desired changes that he believes would be beneficial for the city. City planner, following the review of the sign code, made recommendations that are incorporated in the task resolution which allow the project to move forward while minimizing any negative consequences of the change. The proposed amendment does the following. It extends the distance from the interstate limited access freeway right-of-way from 100 to 350 feet. I think that's covered in the, continue. It grants the approval by the planning commission if it meets certain conditions, allows for 3 poles to be used to support the sign, removes the restriction that the sign must pertain to the property. Okay? Just to that section. So, whereas the mayor and city council wish to amend the city code that addresses signs within the city, now therefore be it resolved that an ordinance to amend Title VI of the codified ordinance of the city of Lincoln Park by incorporating an amendment to Chapter 1476 Signs, .10E, Interstate Freeway Limitations, be given its first and second reading by title only. I'll move on this.
Support.
Discussion?
Yes, Your Honor. In particular, I talked with the city manager, and I have a concern
about the deletion of the fact that it had to be owned, or not owned, but operated it had to be owned by the people that own the building that's in front of. In other words, if I have a building and my name is Ward's Collision, that sign is going to say Ward's Collision. In this particular, and that was the old way the ordinance was written, that it was, the sign was directed towards the company that was in back of it. Now, with this change, anybody can advertise on that sign. We could have a variety of different advertisements on that sign. And from my personal view, especially around the I-75 corridor there, I can see this sign being used to point to things that maybe we wouldn't really be happy about, such as the strip club. And the sign also allows pictures of any kind on there. I guess what comes to mind is coming down in Detroit there, you have the Deja Vu strip club and that type of thing, and you got the big signs and everything. I don't know if we want to get into having that kind of advertisements out on our main thoroughfares. Advertising for the business itself, I don't have a problem with, but when it's open just for any type of use, I have a problem with that.
Well, I think that would be something that goes in front of planning, does it not?
Yes, and Mayor, just for the benefit of council, any sign regulation has to be content neutral. But in terms of any existing adult businesses in Lincoln Park, part of their consent agreement precludes them from advertising in town here. That's why we've seen no signs for that particular club on Papless Drive advertising anywhere in Lincoln Park. And that's in perpetuity. So they won't be advertising, but flashing billboards all over town, including the ones on the freeway, which this would be governed under the same federal regulations and local standards. You can't limit the content on the board once you permit a sign to be other than a sign for the business. Now, the purpose behind this ordinance is for a sign that goes beyond just a sign for the business. The councilman's correct. In terms of your basic concern, that won't happen here for the one business in town that does that.
Well, Your Honor, I cited that one business just as one thing that I would probably have the most objection to, but I imagine there's other things that could be advertised on there that would not exactly be.
Worse would be lawyers on the board. That'd be like
Yeah,
the most
lawyers would be
offensive
very
advertising.
bad. You know, we don't want those.
Except for you, Ed.
But since we don't have content control, it seems like it's very, we're getting the foot in the door, and also not only for the highways, but where does this stop? Do we start with the I-75 type of highway, and then we end up having the same thing on 4th Street? All up and down 4th Street, every block you go, you're going to have a different flashing sign.
Well, this does not pertain to 4th Street.
Well, no,
at
but
that
it's the
particular
foot in the
point.
door. It's a slippery slope.
Well, electronic signs are what's coming, folks. Wait, Mr. Copper, you had some?
I was just going to say that as the code is written today, or at least as is being proposed, it only allows within that 350 foot of limited access freeway. So we kind of know today what the impact of this. Going down the road, it's going to be up to the mayor and council in the future to if that's to expand or not. So I mean, I think that's what you have to weigh is, will future councils want to consider expanding it, greater than what currently is on the table to expand it. And I think, part of the rationale why we looked at this particular amendment and not a broader amendment was to try to limit that, potential today as much as we could.
So,
Mayor, may I add that the city manager is correct. It actually strengthens the existing ordinance in terms of location of billboards, and it precludes it from being in the major thoroughfares of the community. It's got to be a certain foot distance from the state highways. Interstate highways.
As it was being presented, the idea was to be able to promote city events and to also promote Amber Alerts and such as the prime location for if there were issues on I-75 that could save the people, say if there was a backload someplace else, if they had the ability to put that on there. Councilman Kelsey, you're next.
Yes, I'm kind of concerned the same way Councilman Murphy is, and the reason I thought this come up and the reason why it was pushed to us because it got lost through other whatever the way it went or didn't go before, was that the business was trying to advertise their general knowledge of products to the public, and they wanted to update the sign because in essence the sign is illegal as it is now. It's been illegal for a long time because of the height and all that. So the way to clean up some of the language or make it palatable so they could get us to pass that and then go to the planning commission to go to the other part was that. And then now it's crossed out, and I love everybody being honest, but I think it was said here, another council can change it, well, so can the business. I mean, if you give them the foot in the door and there's no restrictions, and we have no leeway once we say it's okay, in essence, we're trusting somebody. And I don't have a problem with that, but there's an old saying, trust is, something that you give very little of. And all I'm saying is, I think I have no problem with that if we make it through the fact that it goes to the business, whatever business is there, and I think that helps promote them, makes it easier for them to give their products to the public and all that, but just to have it up there and then not have any kind of, if you want to call it, control over it, I have a problem with that, and that's, and it goes to what I just said. That's where I'm at anyways.
Well, there'd be a city attorney. Would it be appropriate for the city to enter into like a consent agreement with the owner?
Well, you've got to be careful you don't overstep the requirements of contract zoning, but this is under the sign ordinance. And you would have to indicate what the terms of that would be, but an ordinance can't be passed specifically to support a contract between a municipality and a private function. That would be ultra virus under the Home Rule Act. However, two things just to make clear to council is that I don't think there was ever any misprision or misapprehension that the owners of the sign intended all along to allow some form of commercial advertising on the sign. And it does meet the other requirements of the billboard, and as I indicated, having not been in favor of other billboards and trying to tighten the ordinance in the past, I think this actually does a good move completely without the help of the lawyers in tightening up the billboard ordinance at the present time.
Mayor,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
going along with what Councilman Kelsey was saying, in another direction here, what happens if the owners of the sign sell it tomorrow? And we're not dealing with ethical people. We're dealing with somebody quite different. And we don't have that control.
If I could, through the chair. What's the problem with giving the owner what he wants, with the exception of the fact we keep the sign pertains, because it couldn't be illegal before because it was in there, so, and it says right there, the sign pertains to the principal use of the real estate or lot upon which the sign is located. Just leave that in there, and I don't think there's a problem with it, because, the point of it is it advertises for the thing, for the business, and I think that gives us some kind of control, still gives the client what he's looking for, even though they still have to go through the other process for the height and the width and all that kind of stuff. But I think that would make a lot more sense, and I don't think that's really violating any kind of code or ethics or any kind of thing by leaving that in there. I don't know why they took it out of there anyways. I don't know what they had to do with where the sign's located. I mean, what was the reason for the person who did, or Leah or whoever drafted to take that out of there? Who asked for that? I don't think the council ever asked for that.
Well, if I could,
Sure. Go ahead.
a couple things here. First off, if the desire is to keep it only for the business, then you don't have to amend anything at all, because they have the ability right now to have an electronic display board on their site for their business.
Okay.
But it was never presented that way. It was always presented in the stuff that was handed out and provided to council. Clearly said that they were going to be advertising on this. It was never going to be an on-premise sign. It was going to be a billboard. So to accommodate a billboard, you have to accommodate it within the code that allows it to be done in that area. So again, what they requested effectively was a billboard, not an on-premise sign for the business. If they wanted an on-premise sign, they had an avenue they could go through. They may have needed some variance in terms of the size, but again, that would have been covered within the code. The issue was that they wanted the ability to advertise on and sell advertisements on this particular sign. I mean, that was clear in their stuff that they handed out.
Your Honor, that's been their approach when they previously attempted to amend the ordinance with the various commissions in the community in the past. It's been beyond just pure on-site advertising, because clearly that sign, as it is now, can remain forever, and you can't treat it as a lawful an unlawful non-conforming use, they can bring it up to code, because it's been there and it's been a sign all along. So, that was the sole purpose, and our notes, and we recall the marching orders, we met with the planning people, was that it was to, take it a step further, allow, to comply with the others, commercial sign ordinance.
So basically, we allow an electronic billboard at that location. We either do or don't.
Yeah.
Right? That's what,
Yeah.
that's what it boils down to. And any other facility that matches the restrictions that were,
Right,
The
within
vocation-
350 feet
vocational
of the.
requirement.
Question, Your Honor.
anyway.
yes, sir.
If we don't allow the billboard, they're still allowed to have a sign for their business though, right? Yeah. Okay, that's,
I mean, again, they would have to be able to do what they're asking. They would have to go through the planning process to get final approval for it. But, you know, just to have an electronic display board for their business, you know, that, there's an avenue for that. What they wanted, and I know this was given out, and I'll read it, it says additionally, the sign will be used to promote our business as well as other area businesses. I mean, that becomes a billboard as soon as you're starting to do that.
well, my concern is they do have the right to promote their own business, but I'm not really happy about not having control on the other stuff they might want to throw on there.
Through the chair, then,
Yes, sir.
and evidently, like it's been discussed, if we turn it down, they're still not gonna get harmed by it. They're still gonna be able to do a certain thing. We're just not given carte blanche per se by making this language that's now gonna be adapted by the fact that, you know, it says they can do anything basically, because that portion will take out of the ordinance that says they have to do it for the business itself. Am I correct?
I'm sure that the sign in and of itself is an expensive proposition to
Oh, yeah.
do. And they're trying to recoup the cost of that would be possibly to make a little bit more. I personally feel that these signs are coming, whether we do anything about it or not at the time. So anything else other council people heard?
Mayor, I just want to indicate to council whether you're going to act tonight or review some of the options and do some inquiry, that the city has two flashing signs they do that haven't yet gone to commercial activity on the municipal signs, but the city signs theoretically would be similar to what's going on here because of their size, the fact that they're flashing electronic signs. When this came up before council, we discussed at council look at a way of taking care of the issue of electronic signs throughout with the intent of upgrading the entire ordinance to deal with what's coming in the future. And just note that the city itself, even though it controls the speech, promotes a variety of things that are not just municipal functions on the city's boards too. So bear that in mind, that if you address this as being objectionable because you can't control what's on the sign, whether it's public speech or commercial speech or nonprofit speech or community events, it's all the same. You have no right, once you permit a sign, to control the speech on it unless you have a sign just promoting the business on the premises. Bear that in mind if you take action here, that you cannot control any speech on the sign.
And I guess point to the chairman, and this thing is illegal because it says that right in the ordinance. That ordinance part is illegal to begin with. And we've had that in there up until this point of discussing this resolution. That's been there and nobody's objected to it. And as far as the city signs, with all due respect to the attorney, we do control what goes on those city signs because I know a lot of the council people have asked for other items to be put on there, and it was said, no, that's not what we're going to do because we'd open it up to everybody. We're not going to do that. So just point of information. Thank you.
And, Your Honor, to clarify, that's not what I said, Councilman.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You misspoke. My comment was that the city promotes a variety of items on the sign. And whether it's municipal signs or other signs, once you start promoting, if it's a public sign under a public ordinance given to a private venture, you can't control the speech if it's commercial speech.
Mayor, to Ed's point though, everything that we promote on that side is related to the city.
That's true. I'm just saying that's an electronic sign, and we propose this as part of the vision of changing the entire sign ordinance to deal with electronic signs, large or small, throughout the community. And this was your first opportunity to do something and put it on the books. This was the first time someone came to you, other than the billboards on the freeway, to tell you that they want to bring electronic signs. We had no say over what happened on the freeway. This gives the city one opportunity to set the parameters. And if council's not ready to move, or if there's other questions, I don't know that a couple of weeks would hurt, Mayor, would it, to pass it off for review to see if there's something, you have individual questions, something might take to the consultant of the building department.
We have a motion on the floor.
I know, I
so they
understand
have to
that. I'm just
withdraw.
saying that if council has I mean, you've raised some serious questions, and they should be addressed more than just in a vacuum of 3 to 5 minutes here of giving stock answers as to commercial speech.
Mayor, if this isn't approved, then
But it had to go to content, which is what the end
Understand.
is.
I mean, and I'll be glad to answer
And there's no.
questions about content if council has it.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, if this is not approved tonight, they can always bring this back in with amendments to it or changes to it.
It's whatever council wants to do. I'm just looking to
I'd like to,
facilitate.
through the chair, I'd like to see more discussion on this because I think it deserves, if this is gonna be a standard bearer for the city as far as this one test case, or whatever you wanna call it, this one issue, then I think we need to take a little bit more discussion time on it, other than the fact that we're doing. And that's my opinion. And it's not gonna hurt, it's not gonna go anywhere.
I agree.
I mean, but there's a motion on the floor and that's where it's at.
I will move to table this or take my,
Just withdraw your
Want to
motion.
withdraw?
withdraw my motion at this particular time.
Councilman Higgin, you going to withdraw?
I will withdraw.
And we'll
Your Honor, before you close the discussion on it, we will make Lee available and the building superintendent,
Good idea.
and I will certainly be available to discuss any concerns council may have before the next meeting. Because if there are none, then perhaps you bring it back and you decide which direction you're going on this.
Through the chair, can I, to Ed?
Yes, sir.
Could we put in the ordinance that no adult advertising could be?
That's the
Could
one
we
thing you
put that in
can't,
straight?
that's the one thing you can't put in.
Okay, that's my question.
I think you'd get away more with no lawyer advertising than get
Yeah.
away with that, so.
Okay, I didn't think we could, but I had to ask.
Thank you, Counselor.
Okay, then, we don't need any further action on that, correct?
I was just gonna, I see Bernstein and all that all the time.
Next item has a cover letter from the city manager. Reference to was,
Oh, it's your turn.
we'll do this again. Mayor and city council were approached by the Downtown Development Authority to seek allowance for body art facilities, tattoo parlors, to be located within Central Business District. 3 sections of the city code must be updated to allow for this use in the Central Business District. The attached resolution will do the following things. 1, remove tattoo parlors from the adult regulated uses. 2, define body art facilities. 3, add body art facilities as a use permitted with a special land use approval in the Central Business District. 4, allow a 1,000-foot buffer to site design standards for uses permitted after special approval. So, whereas the mayor and city council wish to amend the city code to allow for body art facilities to be located within the Central Business District of the city. Now therefore be it resolved that an ordinance to amend Title VI of the codified ordinances for the city of Lincoln Park by incorporating amendments to Chapter 1260, Section .08, Rules of Constructions, Definitions, Chapter 1280, Section .03, Uses Permitted After Special Approval, and Chapter 1296, Section .02, Site Design Standards for Uses Permitted After Special Approval, be given its first and second reading by title only. I'll move on this.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Mayor Carnes?
Yes.
Councilperson Darzinski?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Murphy?
No.
Motion passes.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Next item has the cover letter from John Kazoo, our DPS director. Last year, Hennessy Engineers Incorporated, along with Fishbeck, Thompson, Carr, and Huber Incorporated, submitted the Harrison Street Bridge West structure number 12506, which is over the south branch of the Ecorse Creek and Emmons Boulevard Bridge, and structure number 12500 over the Sexfoil-Kilfoyle Drain to MDOT's local critical bridge program for replacement last year. MDOT did not approve the bridge in last year's program. They're planning on resubmitting them again this year. Based on the 2017 bridge inspections, they're recommending that the City of Lincoln Park apply for MDOT's local critical bridge program for the Harrison Street Bridge West, constructed in 1965, and the Emmons Boulevard Bridge, constructed also in 1965. As with the Harrison Street Bridge East and the Hagel Street Bridge projects, MDOT will pay 95% of the city's share, would pay 5% of the total construction costs. The estimated cost to replace each of the bridges is $1,750,000 each. The estimated design costs and soft costs is approximately $300,000 each. The Emmons Boulevard Bridge is a shared bridge with the city of Wyandotte. If the Emmons Bridge is approved, the city of Lincoln Park and city of Wyandotte would have to enter into intergovernmental agreement that was done before with the Harrison Street Bridge East project. And the cost would be split between the two cities. So the resolution is resolved that the city of Lincoln Park is adopting a resolution in support of placing the Harrison Street Bridge West, structure number 12506, in parentheses, over the south branch of the Ecorse Creek, in parentheses, and the Ecorse, and the Emmons Boulevard Bridge, structure number 12500, which is over the Sexton Kilfoyle Drain, on the MDOT Local Bridge Priority Program priority list. The priority of the bridges are as follows. Number 1, Harrison Street West, over the south branch of Ecorse Creek, structure 12498, and 2, Emmons Boulevard, over Sexton Kilfoyle Drain, structure 12500.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
Through the chair,
Yes, sir.
that design cost, Matthew, that was $300,000 design cost.
The soft costs, I don't know. Let's see what it,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
saw.
design. I don't know if it includes inspection. I'm thinking that it may for that, but, you're talking about usually, the design for a project like that, bridge is a little bit more than just a straight road, so it's about 20% of the project estimate. So I'm guessing that includes some inspection in there as well.
Certainly hope so, at $300,000. Wow.
further discussion? The clerk call the roll.
Councilperson Kelsey,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Darzinski,
Absolutely.
Murphy.
Yes.
Mayor Kearns.
Yes. All right. Next, resolved that the accounts and claims payable for those items greater than $25,000 be approved as follows. 25th District Court, April 2018 payment, $44,822.68. Wayne County, January 2018 sewage usage user fee, $111,183.98. Habitat for Humanity, 851 Park Avenue Concrete, 857 Park Avenue Concrete, 1418 Warwick, total of $29,211.54.
Hennessy's listed, but there's no amount. Lisa? Just take it off. Okay.
Okay. McKenna, February 2018, $37,444.35. Motorola Solutions Incorporated, 22 radios for the Lincoln Park Citizen Patrol Watch, $55,750.90.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
I got two questions. I looked into payables, and the monthly cleaning bill for the police department is $3,100 a month. Does that sound right for cleaning? That's like $38,000 a year to clean that place, and I'm wondering, I mean, maybe it is, I'm not sure, it just sounds kind of high. But I don't know, maybe that's just,
That is correct. They do not only the building cleaning, but also the cells. So any incidents that might happen in the jail cells, they take care of that.
okay, because I've seen other additions to that through the chair to Lisa, where for the bleaching and that, another part of the team comes in and does that,
Yeah.
it's a separate charge. That's
Yeah, they'll
why I
have
was
their
asking.
bio charges if
Right,
there's
right, it's
something
above that,
additional
so-
that they have to do.
This looked like it was just for the cleaning, that's why I asked if that was normal for that structure, for that cost, but
Yeah,
that's,
that sounds about the normal monthly amount that we pay them.
It's consistent, it's
Okay.
7 days a week. so
okay, all right.
Have to be in there on a daily basis.
All right, and the last question I had is that, we have a contract worker that's working in finance. Are we planning on keeping that for a period of time or looking at filling that position in the new budget based upon what we're paying?
Well, the position is funded within the budget.
Okay.
So I think because we were unable to recruit someone outright, we were going through a temporary or temp agency for that. You know, we have the ability that should this person work out to bring them on, but I don't think there's been any decision yet as to that.
No, not at this point. The person that's in there now it's only been just over a month. We had somebody different in there
well, I was
for a
just gonna
period
say,
of
'cause there
time.
was
Can we
somebody, yeah.
address this during
Sorry.
your report, sir?
Yeah, that's
City
fine.
manager?
Yeah, that's fine. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Anything further? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilperson Kelsey,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Darzinski,
Absolutely.
Murphy.
Yes.
Mayor Carnes.
Yes, as Mr. Councilman, absolutely is not a
Oh.
proper use, sir. You understand that,
Yeah.
right?
Sorry, Robert's Rules of Orders. Yes.
Okay, then moving on to the city manager's report. Ms. Coppler.
So, in an effort to keep my comments short compared to last,
Thank
Meeting.
heavens.
I only had two things to bring up. First is I want to remind everyone that on Monday, April 9th, between 5 and 9 p.m., so this is next Monday, the city will be holding training for the Planning Commission, the ZBA, the DDA is available to come to it, as well as mayor and council can attend that. This is going to be training that is very specific to the city of Lincoln Park to understand, you know, what our processes are and how to improve upon our processes as well. Again, that's going to be at the Community Policing Building, 5 to 9 p.m. Monday, April 9th. If you're able to be there, I would recommend very highly. Second item, just wanted to remind everyone that we are looking to do a special cleanup day on May 12th. We're starting to push out the advertising for that, and more will be coming out very shortly. We were unable to get the resolution, or I was unable to get the resolution for the cleanup week to this agenda. You'll be seeing it at the next meeting. There's just a couple things that I needed to get clarified that I didn't have before we go forward with that. So you'll be seeing that resolution next meeting. And real quick, again, when you look at the budget, we're effectively paying what we would be paying, not only wages, but also the benefits. So it kind of breaks even right now for us. We would like to get that position, which is actually the payroll clerk's position, at least generally that's what it's called, filled as soon as possible in a permanent way. We're working to try to get that done.
To the chair, that's to the city manager. That's what I was asking, because I know consistency is a big part, especially when you're dealing with money. And sooner or later, you kind of figure out whether you're going to be able to, you know, continue on with that policy or go in-house or whatever. And I was just asking because it has been, and like Lisa said, there has been somebody before her that
Yeah.
was doing it, which is
We're at the
So
same
that's fine.
time. We're at same. I'm sorry to step over you
No,
there.
no, that's fine.
We're at the same time. We're evolving what our processes are, and I think, you know, we've made a number of strides to bring ourselves into the 21st century in some of our practices. There's still a ways to go with that, and so that kind of makes it more difficult as well, because we don't know what that, you know, what the requirements are going to be, you know, 3 or 4 months down the road once we have everything in place. Excuse me, one of the things you'll see in the upcoming budget request is moving to a more up-to-date type of time clock for our employees. That again will help with our payroll responsibilities as well. So we're still evolving, looking at ways to try to reduce, you know, what our overall costs are for these positions.
I got one more question through the
Yes,
chair
go
for
ahead.
the city manager. Last council meeting, you brought up 1954 Rio, the house that the guy didn't want. I went over there today and I noticed that the hole is it's still open, but the hole is pretty well, almost all cleaned up. The heavy equipment's still there. Are they in hiatus until we decide that we're gonna do something? Because you can't leave the hole open and heavy equipment there if there's kids around there. And I'm just asking what the status is with him before we make the decision, yes or no, because it was offered last council meeting, deciding what the city wanted to do as far as acquiring that property.
Yeah, as far as I know, that the enforcement action is still going forward. I'm not sure if it was in court last week or if it's going to be in court this week. I know that it was scheduled to go to court. We're continuing our enforcement to get it cleaned up regardless of what the final ownership is going to be. Because again, it's just, the right thing to do.
Okay, it just seemed like it stopped again, and that's why I was asking the question.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
I don't know if that's in response to the legal side or if they're going to be getting a little jolt here very shortly.
Thank you.
Anything further for the city manager? All right, thank you, sir. Then we'll move on to our department head report we have CDBG, Parks Recreation, Doreen Christian. Doreen?
Thank you. Today, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what's been going on in our departments. Within CDBG, we have awarded demolition of 2 homes. We awarded the Electric and Russell Avenue intersections and the senior roof. I'm waiting for these to be signed and all the insurances come in, and then I'll go to mayor and city clerk for their signatures, and we'll move forward with that. We also are going to be going out to bid shortly on the senior brick renovation, and that will more or less get our senior center tightened up so we don't have any more leaks or problems coming on it. The HUD is coming in to monitor us so we can see how we did. They'll be in April 24th through the 26th, and I've been cleaning everything up to make sure we have all our I's dotted, T's crossed, and hopefully there's going to be no findings. And also I'm working on the AAP with the annual action plan with Hennessy Engineers for the 2018-19 season. We don't have the HUD finances yet, but we can still go through with what mayor and council have passed and get the basics of it going so that we can get moving on things quicker next year. Room A roofing has been awarded, and you just did the painting. So again, our Parks and Rec building is going to be pretty nice finally, and we'll get that back on going. The Parks and Rec Commission is having a special meeting on April 4th at 7 o'clock. This is to discuss a program that somebody wants to bring into the city of Lincoln Park, and they want to discuss it and then bring their decision to you guys on whether they want to move forward with it, if it's good for the city or not. And they canceled the regularly scheduled meeting, and we are moving it to April 25th at 6 p.m. They're going to have a very short meeting in office, and then the Parks and Rec Commission is going to visit every one of the parks, do an inventory, see what it is. We have a lot of new members that don't know what our parks consist of and what they need. So it was decided that they're going to visit every one of the parks this year and see what's going on. And then for Dennis, for the community center, he asked me to promote his ice cart racing on April 28th. The doors open at 1:30. If you have any questions, give him a call at 386-4075, area code 313. If you want to put a team together, that's who you speak with, and he'll be able to give you more information on it. And then you're going to have from 1:30, and I think it's just till 10, that they're going to have different races going on in the community center. It's $5 admission to get in. And to let you know that the Festival on Ice is going on April 20th through the 24th. The tickets are on sale now. Again, any more questions, just give us a call at 386-4075. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Doreen. Anything from council? Thank you very much. We will move on to citizen communications.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Clifford Eberts. Just wanted to say, sorry about out there in the hallway, but in talking to the guys from RRC, I think this is a really good program. But, again, the proof is in the pudding, and we've had many other people come in saying, we can clean this town up and make this happen. So if this is viable, they were talking about private dollars, probably via taxpayer support. We've hit these people that live in this city with many millages asking them to buckle up before. And the thing, as I've said before, is writing grants or getting somebody to help bring in federal and state dollars to help us so that they can match it. Because that way, if we can get these sites developed without having to hit the taxpayers for extra mills to improve the city, that they've already done. I mean, because they're strapped and, they can't see that much of a difference and they're getting fed up. So to hit them for something like that, to present them with something like this, if we could say somehow that, we researched a way to get maybe some federal grant dollars or, even state grant dollars in to help match, so that we're going to be eventually developing these sites. We're going to be, instead of looking into housing studies, we're going to be looking into business studies, and this is going to be something that could evolve into a 5 to 10 year tentative plan that's going to financially benefit the city. And I'm all for RRC, and another thing too, with the upcoming spring and summer season, it's going to be time, kids are going to be out for summer vacation, you see graffiti on buildings, and, we need to start thinking about what kind of programs and what kind of resources we're going to have to offer our kids so they're not on the streets doing crime, that they're, having something. Growing up in Wyandotte and Lincoln Park, I know Tom had the same advantages that I did. There were programs for kids, swimming pools or park programs. We need to start looking into things like that so we can start turning the city around once again. And, so the kids have something to look forward to, and the RRC with financing so that the citizens have something to look forward to. So people will want to move back, businesses will want to come back, and we'll have a real reason, something that will actually drive a hard line and say, yes, this is why you want to do business with Lincoln Park. We are a soluble city financially. We've got a program here, and if you like what we're offering you, come on in. We got arms wide open for you. Something just so that we can see a difference financially. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Carlos Salcido, longtime Lincoln Park resident. So a quick comment here. I attended the all-night jam on March 24th, and there was a lot of great music and food, also gift baskets. Actually, the most gift baskets I've ever seen at an event, to tell you the truth. I didn't win one. I'm still waiting on a call. I got to see a lot of childhood friends. Even a couple of my neighbors showed up. Got to chat with Mayor Carnes for a little while. So great job, Chris Darzinski and Mike Higgins, for putting it on. I spoke to you briefly also. That was pretty fun. So like I said, the music and the food was excellent, and that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Sean Stansberry. Good evening, Mayor and Council. How you doing tonight? I'd like to remind all the citizens that the candidates for City Council's special election are on the city's cable site, the city's website, the city's cable channel, the city's website, and also on YouTube. I urge all voters to watch and get to know all the candidates to see what they offer. May 8th is coming soon, so get informed and vote. I'd like to say thanks to the DPS for patching my street today. I called last week and they came out very promptly. I appreciate that. I would like to see the residents call and report potholes in their area, because if you don't, they're not going to get filled. On a different note, go and visit the Wyandotte Animal Shelter and adopt a cat or a dog and give them a second chance. They're a wonderful place to take a loving animal home. I also like to say thank you to all the people that donate to the shelter and ask not to be recognized. And there's a lot of people that do that. They come, they give stuff, and they don't want any recognition at all. So I'd like to just say thank you to those people. Without that, they couldn't operate. I noticed over the weekend on River Drive, the trash was building up at Council Point Park at the easement. We can't litter and keep using the ground as a trash can. That park, like so many others in Lincoln Park, are a pride for the city. We need to preserve our parks and keep them around for future generations. Last, I would like to thank our fire department and police department for their service to our city. like the mayor said, I believe the firefighters acted professionally and there was no wrongdoing. These guys put their life on the line every day and they deserve better than what they're saying on the news. I thought it was kind of despicable what they said, and they're going to try to come and protest this, the city hall, so I hope that doesn't happen. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Is there anyone else? No? Then we'll move on to oral reports of the mayor and council. Council President Murphy.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm a little under the weather tonight, so I'm going to keep it short. There are two things I want to bring up. Sean Stansberry was talking about the fact that the candidate profiles are out. I looked at them. You ought to take a few minutes and look at them. You can look at them, like he said, on YouTube, or you can look at them at our local sites here. But take a look at them. We've got some dedicated people running for office, and they deserve to have a few minutes of your time to look them over for the May 8th election. The other thing, city manager, I talked to you briefly about it before, is our goals. I need an update on our goals. The city goals that we established. Boy, you're good. You're really good.
That's what quick recover.
That's all I have then. Thank you.
And we're working on a more comprehensive that will actually put some indicators and data to support what's going on and some of the ones that we feel need support. So,
All
Thank
right.
you much.
Councilman Higgins.
Yes, first off, Your Honor, you didn't mention it earlier on, and I want to congratulate you on a wonderful job you did at the Easter egg hunt, introducing the Easter Bunny. It was every year it amazes me how those kids show up, and it's done so well. And I want to congratulate everybody who was involved with that. As already mentioned, the all-day jam was this last weekend, and I'd like to thank everybody. I don't like to mention names because when you give names, you always forget and you say somebody, you don't forget somebody's name. And so I would just like to blankly thank everybody who had anything to do with it. It was a wonderful night. We raised a lot of money for the parade, and thank you very much. I also like to remind everybody the Comic-Con meeting is coming up on April 13th, and we will be meeting at the Brew Pub on Fort Street Brewery at 1 o'clock. Anybody who would like to be there, please come on out. That's all this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Kelsey.
Thank you, Your Honor. First of all, I talked to Councilman Parkinson, who couldn't be here tonight. He had some surgery, and he's at home recovering, so he couldn't make it tonight. He just wanted everybody to know that he's doing fine. He's just recovering. The mayor mentioned at the beginning of this meeting about the Family Fun Night. It was very well done. The Rotary did a lot of stuff. The city manager was passing out hot dogs, which was kind of nice. Probably did a real good job. And it was very nice to see everybody participate in the different groups, social groups come out there, the policemen, CERT, the people from the Wayne County that came down there, and a bunch of other the vendors that spend their time to give out literature and stuff for the adults as well as the kids. CERT training, I mentioned this before, the Citizens Emergency Response Training is going to happen the 13th, 14th, and 15th of April. And that's the training session they're going to have at the community building here next to the library. It starts Friday and runs till Sunday. Starts Friday and then starts again Saturday morning and then Sunday. If you want to sign up, you have to go on the website and fill out the application. You can go to the city's website and look underneath the fire department, which lists the CERT website, or you can go to certlpp.com. The last thing I was going to say is that, and the mayor mentioned it also at the beginning, is that there was a comment made on the news that I watched on Channel 2 at 11 o'clock concerning the fire department's response to the fire on Outer Drive. And I'm not going to get into specifics, but I think it was very disrespectful for what was said, and I think the city should take some kind of comment or reach out to those individuals to correct that and retract those statements that were made, because that goes to everybody out there who doesn't know who we are or what we are or how good of a fire department we have. And I think that's very disrespectful to this organization, the firefighters, us as a city, to work very hard to bring residents into this community and and the fire department does their dedication to keep everybody safe, to have those comments made willy-nilly just on a national TV and as fact without nobody responding to them. So, and I think, like I said before, that the city ought to make some kind of formal gesture to those individuals to have them retract that and on the same way that they put it out. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, sir. Councilman Darzinski.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, what Larry said. I'll start off with the fire department. So seriously, has anybody ever tried to tear down a building and have it catch on fire or anything like that? So thankfully we're outside of Steve Martin's jurisdiction for this little anecdote. But in a previous life with my ex-fiancée and her brothers, we took down an old shed on a very dilapidated piece of property. And actually, we sat back and drank, and we let the son take care of it. But yeah, the heat coming off of that fire on a little shed. I don't know. Do people understand what fire and police do? The 3 S's of what's called classic government for those who will go back in times to the Greeks and to the Romans. Safety, security, sanitation. Serious business. You try running into a burning building or putting a hole in the ceiling and knowing exactly where to put a ventilation so that you contain the smoke and all that stuff. It's a lot of science to it, but you still got to have people that go in there and do that stuff. What do you think makes a city and makes a community? It's your police and your fire and your garbage pickup. So, I guess I have really libertarian views towards the media when it comes to times like these. So, anyway, the all-day jam. Yes, it was a success. We had 150 people approximately that showed up. It was planned for 500. So, yes, we did raise a lot of money. 1/3 of what we needed to get ahead of the process for having the money for 2019. We do have enough to go ahead with 2018. So there's going to be additional fundraisers, and there'll be additional planning meetings on that. So the money was good, but it was an okay turnout, and the amount of hours that go into planning that starting 6 months in advance. So it's hard, but I will try to thank everyone. Jesse at the VFW with his son, Dakota, and his two nephews, Christian and Matthew, who were there for about 15 hours. Those kids were out there picking up trash when I was pounding in the all-day jam sign at 9:30 in the morning on Saturday. To Jimmy Cargill, who volunteered 12 hours. Jeannie Latinzia, longtime volunteer on a lot of different events in the city. Kathy Miller, Ramona, Stacy, and Dee, 3 of the barmaids at the VFW, who are really sweet ladies, and they do a lot of little things. Stacy's over there during the day trying to Facebook Live the event to get more people to come in. I mean, she doesn't have to do that, you know. So just the little things that people do. Dave Gentry, who, I don't know, put in about 15 hours of volunteering time. Mike Higgins, I don't know. I lose count as to how many hours you put in volunteering for things. I can't count that high anymore, but so. And thank you for driving me home on Friday night after we put 4 hours in setting up, each 4 hours setting up before the Saturday setup. Jen Smith, who doesn't even live in the city, but she's a longtime volunteer. I'd like to thank myself for not writing very clearly. Lots of volunteers, other volunteers, and so we're gonna do something different with the next all-day jam. There's gonna be a planning meeting on that. I'll come back to that in a minute. So, I'll come back to it right now. Hands of the City planning meeting. There will be, for the next all-day jam, that will be Sunday, April 15th at 3 p.m. at the VFW. I'm thinking it might be divided into 2 events. We might move the all-day jam to a different time of the year and then make a separate event for specifically remembering Detroit police officer Matthew Bowens, and do something a little bit different there. I'm actually going to talk to some of the police officers, and I got an idea, and that might be something very specific. So if you want to get involved in really growing the All Day Jam, if you'd like to become one of the main planners, again, April 15th, Sunday, 3 p.m. VFW. Just show up, and it's about a lot of people doing a little bit. I cannot stress that enough. If 100 people in the city decide to make one really nice raffle basket, that gives us 100 raffle baskets. So we had 65 this year, and I just throw that out there so that everybody knows that it's not about a small group of people doing a whole bunch. It's about a whole bunch of people doing one or two little things throughout the year, and that's how that also helps make a community more vibrant. Okay. I need some volunteers to work for the economic conference that the city will be hosting, and I'm planning that. That is going to be for Saturday, April 28th. So just get a hold of me, send me an email, Facebook me, give me a call. So I need a few volunteers for that. That's Saturday, April 28th. This is kind of a sad situation. So I'm hoping that we can do what we do in this town and take something that is sad and turn it around into a big positive. The VFW Post 552, that's the one where we had the all day jam. That Lincoln Park Post has been there since 1931. They have 70 members. They do not have enough members to keep their doors open. So everybody out there, you know a vet of a foreign war, please direct them to the VFW so that they get involved and become a member. Or if you, I forget exactly how this works, but if you have a father or a mother or a family member at that level that served in a foreign war, and if you want to become part of the men's auxiliary like myself or the ladies auxiliary, so the VFW needs more members desperately to keep their doors open. I don't know how to put that out there more directly, except that Jim Bowens came up to me during the all-day jam and says we need more members. So that VFW post is the essential reason that we were able to bring back the Memorial Day Parade, because they work so closely with us, and since they sponsored a parade by pulling a special events permit, we could not afford to do the parade for what we do it now if we didn't have the VFW backing us. I cannot be more blunt about that. So if you're a veteran or you know a veteran of a foreign war, please have them get involved in the VFW. So, and if you know someone that's good at books and accounting, they're going to need a new quartermaster soon, so you can jump right into that position. And the Downriver Comic-Con planning meeting, that is Sunday, April 15th, 1:30 p.m. at the 4th Street Brewery. So you can come for that meeting and then follow us right to the VFW for the Hands of the City meeting. And, oh yeah, truck night in America. I don't know if anybody watches that kind of TV. So my TV viewing tastes are kind of eclectic. They go from C-SPAN to truck night to Star Trek reruns, and I'll say that out loud. But is this? We got, I don't know, thousands of truck owners in Lincoln Park alone. This would be another event that Downriver could own, a Downriver Truck Wars or something like that. So start kicking it around. So now, unfortunately, we can't push ice cream trucks off a cliff into a quarry like they were doing a few nights ago. So I wish we could do that, but so we could come up with something good. So, yeah, I was going to go back to the fire department, but I just honestly don't think I can stay within Robert's Rules of Order on that tonight. So thank you, Mayor, and let's find some veterans to join the VFW post. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Again, we apologize. We're having some technical difficulties with the show. Hope that it worked out. Yeah, I was remiss in mentioning and thanking the Exchange Club for putting on the Easter egg hunt. It was quite a deal. a couple hundred kids and a couple thousand or 5,000 eggs that were all stuffed, and everything was gone in less than 2 minutes. It was quite a program that was put on.
Excellent.
It was excellent, absolutely. And speaking of our excellent city manager here, he has put together an idea for May 12th, which is the day before Mother's Day, actually. So if you want to do something for for your Mother Earth, come on out and help out with this general cleanup of everything. I mentioned that the Parks and Recreation Commission is going over and looking at all of our different parks, and they will have recommendations. But you as residents know your parks better than anybody else. You know what it needs to be done, what needs to be cleaned. Council Point Park was mentioned already, that needs a cleanup over here. Folks, establish teams. Get your neighborhoods together and let's do this. The goal is to have 1,000 volunteers out for that day. That is something that we can do, but we can't do it alone. In order to make this happen, you guys all have to get organized with this. So contact your neighbors, your friends, give mom the day off unless she absolutely wants to go and do this, but everybody else should be out there for a period of time. If you have an hour to give, that's fine. If you have all day to give, so let's make an effort. We're probably going to rain that day, as it normally does for us. But even though, let's make this happen. I heard him say 1,000 volunteers, and I did not have a belief that could happen until he started talking. You realize how many people that are out here doing different things, all the different great organizations that we have in town. We can make this happen. So put your calendars, mark it, May 12th, and you have more information that's coming. You got plenty of time to plan for it. What are we talking, 6 weeks away? There we go. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, support.
And if we could have roll call, please.
Councilperson
Not roll, yes, that's it.
Jarzynski?
Yes.
Yay. Yes, yes.
Roll call.